Hey guys! Oops! I'm getting blocked into my space here. Go on now, baby. We've been moving some stuff around and I've got tables and chairs in my craft room even more than I normally do, so I can't hardly move. Okay, this is part 4 of the 6x6 mini, and I'm finishing up the pocket envelope. Well, I guess it's not really a pocket. It's the envelope piece. Believe me, I'm not using this, so don't freak out. Ooh. So I have this and this and this. I chose this piece, and I'm probably going to do some stamping on here or something, just to give it, or a sticker or something, but not working on the embellishments right now. And something that I used to do in all of my books that I did several years ago, and it was very popular, was kind of a collage thing. So what you do is, this is just a junk piece of paper. I'm going to use this side, and this side is going to be glued down onto the back of the envelope. So I normally would have some kind of words on this, but and it usually was the front page of the book, but this is just going to be kind of a collage thing. It's absolutely pretty easy to do. You just have to you just have to start doing it, and you want to make sure that you're getting your pieces down, and you want to make sure that you're getting your pieces down straight. So when I first start out, I put things on the ruler. Let me line this up on my one, and I just make sure that it's straight, which it is. I'm going to do my bone folder on here. Wipe that off. And I'm going to wipe this off because I don't want too much sticky on my scissors. And then I'm cutting it off. Okay. And you just keep building onto this. And I'm just going to be using all the pieces and parts that I have. I'm going to bring this under here, and I'll probably bring this one all the way across. I think I like that. Now, you have to remember that sometimes these aren't completely straight, and if you feel like it's not completely straight, don't use that part. So I think I'll bring this. I feel like it's good to about there. So this will fill in some other place. Oh. And it's not the quickest thing in the world to do, and I'm not going to have you sit here and watch me do the whole thing. But I will come back. I don't know what I got on there. It won't come off. I will come back and show you the finished product, but I'm going to get far enough along so you can just see how it works. I mean, it's not that difficult, but just so you can see my planning on this. And, you know, you don't have to have everything going in the same direction. And I just keep building, and then when I need to find smaller pieces of paper or whatever, then that's what I do. And I have all of these pieces and parts here that you want to make sure everything gets pretty much butt up against there. You can cover this with Mod Podge afterwards. You can leave it just the way it is. You can put crackle medium over the top of it. You know, change colors. Now, what am I trying to think of here? I want to build this up a little bit more. Let's see. Let's do this here. What was I thinking of? I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. This is a lot to try and do while I'm talking. I would normally put crackle medium on this and work on with the Tim Holtz inks to fill in the crackle medium afterwards, so that it would be, it was really nice, and I got lots of comments on it. So like I said, it's not a quick and easy project. But it does make it pretty interesting. You just have to remember to kind of change things up. You don't want to make a lot of straight lines. You don't want to make a lot of, and this is really crooked, so I'm gonna, let's see, put it on here and see. I'm gonna have to cut this one a little bit because this is really not straight. Really. Let's see here. There we go. That's better. Because if you try and incorporate, like, see how this is, if you try and incorporate that, it would take me forever to incorporate that. And I'm just, I don't have that kind of time. I don't really want to have that kind of time. Okay, what do I have here? See, I don't really want, I just want a little square of something. Just a little square that will kind of change things up. Kind of change things up for me. It's not quite a square, but there. I like that. I probably made this too large, but this, I can put a sticker in here that will break that up and it'll be just fine. But you want to just keep building. Try and make sure that you're always getting nice straight angles and that everything is getting in there nice and tight. And have your rag ready. On this type of project, I want a lot of glue coming out everywhere because I want to make sure that the ends are getting completely glued. Especially because on this, I am not going to be putting any coverage over the top of it. Yeah, so okay, and let's take a piece of this. Got a piece of that left. This is another reason I have always really enjoyed keeping all of my bits and pieces, because I needed one more sheet of paper. I was really now I've lost my piece I just cut off. I was really unable to find, well, and especially since all this extra furniture is in my room, I was really unable to find anything that I truly liked to for using for this. And so I decided, my girlfriend actually, hi Laurel, she reminded me that I used to do this, and I had totally gotten away from it. But it's always very, very, very fun. It comes out really nice, and it's just something that people don't normally see that often anymore. Oh. And again, you want to make sure that you've got every nook and cranny just really, oh, I still had a little glue on there. Every nook and cranny really covered, really solidly covered, so that nothing will pop up. You don't want anything popping up. And you can wait until the end to cut all these bits and pieces off, but I save. Even that little piece right there may come in handy. Especially if I want something, like, see that? If I wanted to put that there, because it's enough of a difference in color, because this had some Tim Holtz coloration on it. There's some yellow, there's some blue, and that works for me. This piece really doesn't, so it kind of looks different. So I'm going to stick this, and I don't know, let me see if I can bring this down a little bit. I'm going to stick this piece, make sure it's getting in there. And then I'm sure we've all done this, where you take your fingernail, you get this, you take your fingernail where you want it to get cut at, right like that, and then I'm going to pull it back out, and I'm going to cut it right on the ridge where I made with my fingernail. And I try and err on the side of maybe it might be a little too big, because I can always trim it down a little bit more, but not going to really be able to add to it. And okay, so it's still a little long, but not by much. Not by much. So I'm just going to take that little bit off of there. See, it's in there. There we go. Sometimes my fingernails are just a little too long. I don't know how people do it with those added nails. I mean, these are my real nails, but sometimes they're too long and I can't get anything. Like this thumb is just ridiculously long, and I can't, for me anyway, I have a hard time grabbing anything. So that just adds just that little bit of surprise. And I'm just going to take a little bit of glue from top to bottom there. And if you like better using some tweezers, get it in there. This is where that cloth comes in really handy. Push it into all of the papers. Voila. And it just adds a bit more interest. Now here, I can leave these together however I cut it. And it's going to add interest because it looks like you've already done this. See, like if I were to do that, it looks like all of those pieces are being pieced together. And that would be something that would speed the process along a bit. And I think I might as well go ahead and do that. And that will leave me a thin strip of that to put somewhere else. So I'm going to cheat. And it'll give me some edge. Actually, I think I'm going to put the glue here because then I know I'm getting it in all the right spots. Don't get it too far, but 1/8 of an inch, because you do want all this to really stick. So we're going to butt that up, and I want to get it, don't let it get on top of the other piece. Keep it straight all the way. Oh, excuse me. There we go. Get that pushed all around there. Lots of good coverage. Good coverage. Let's flip this around. go. And then I'm going to cut the remainder of this off, and I'll have it for something else. And probably do it in a more vertical line than the horizontal line, so that it doesn't really stand out, and I might even cut it just a bit more so it doesn't really stand out that, oh my gosh, look, that's like this same exact. Not that if you really looked at it you couldn't figure it out, but you know, it's all good. It's not like we're trying to sneak anything. We just, this will be a one-of-a-kind page. And, you know, you can choose to do this. You can choose not to do this. This was just something I said, well, I will show everybody what it is that I have totally forgotten about doing this. And I used to just love doing it. And the amount of oohs and ahs you would get from something like this, it was always so worth it. Let's see. See, that's just a little too thin, and I don't know that I like that on there. I think I could use this color. Just get a little bit of that there. I mean, there's only two ways you can do it, is up and down or left and, you know, yeah, up and down or left or right. So because I'm not doing a diagonal one, you can do squares and rectangles, you know, so it's not rocket science. It's not. There we go. Okay, cut that piece off. I hope I'm, oh man, I forgot that I had zoomed it, and I hope I haven't been off camera. Let me move it back out a little bit. Sorry guys, I'm sorry. I bet most of this wasn't on camera. All I did was put glue around this and cheated, because that piece of paper was all together. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. I don't know. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Just keep building and building until you get it done. And that's it. That's that. So I have all of my bits and pieces that I have saved up, and I will continue to go through all of these until I have this the way I like it. So I will bring this back to you when I have it done so that you can see how I finished it off. But you don't need to me watch and do the whole thing. That would just be boring. So I will come back to that. I will come back to that. What I'm going to do now is run through really quickly, because let's see, what are we at? We're at 18, I think. Oh, I spent way too much time doing that if we're at 18. I am going to remind myself what size these pages are. So we're at 6 inches. So I'm going to make this is for the hidden hinge system. Now, I'm going to pull this back out just a little bit more. Let me move things forward. Sorry, because I couldn't move that down anymore. Okay, getting a sip. Oh, sorry, I'm so thirsty. Okay, so I need a 6-inch, probably, let's see what this is, 6-inch there we go. Okay, I'm going to see if this is going to be long enough. This is, I don't know. That is almost, that's only 10 inches long. Let's see. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches, 7.5 inches, and then 8.5, 9.5. No, I need a piece that is 12 inches long. And let me grab something up here that's gonna, trying to use all of my scraps. Let's see. I don't know if I've got anything else that is going to be wide enough and long enough. I'm a-looking. This might be better. There's not too much of this that shows up, but this orange is really wild. So I think I'm going to do this. Now this is a pretty good craft paper. Let me cut it. I make mine 6 inches. If my page is 6 inches, I make mine 6 inches. And this is not straight. Let me flip it over and see if I can get it straight on this side. All right. Okay, 6 inches by 12 inches. And that'll give me, I'm sorry, I keep wanting to sneeze. Now, this is Kathy Orta's Hidden Hinge. I did not come up with this, but I love it. The hinge system is going to have mountain valley folds, and that just means that some of the folds stand up like a mountain and some of the folds are down like valleys in between the mountains. So you'd have a mountain here and a mountain here. This is your valley, or gusset. Okay, so you've got your mountain fold and your gusset, or your hinge and your gusset. So everybody likes to do this a little differently. I am going to grab my this is Tyvek. I'm going to cut this across here, not really carefully, just to get, and that's 6 inches. I'm going to cut this off. So we're right about 6 inches on there, and I'm going to pretty much cover the whole thing. I'm not really worried about the very ends because there's not any stress on the very ends. So I'm going to cut this down so it's a little less than 6, but not very much. In some spots it's, oh, come on, there we go. Oops. Okay, in some spots it was right on, and other spots it was a little less. But, so, it fits on there now pretty well. It's not perfectly straight, but that's fine. So, I am just going to glue this down pretty well. This is what is going to really give this some strength. Give this some good strength. Just try and get it so it stays on top of the paper. And at this point, you don't have to worry if you've got pieces that are standing up or not caught. It's no biggie. We just want to kind of get that on there. Like I said, a lot of people do this hidden hinge differently than I do, but I like to have the Tyvek on the hidden hinge system because those mountain and valleys, or gussets and hinges, they get a lot of use. And what better to help keep the paper nice and those not tear than putting down some of that Tyvek. Okay, I like to have about 2 inches to go onto the front and back flap of the book. So I at least get 2 inches on one side, because it's a 12 inch, 6 by 12 inch. So I'm not going to find any paper that's any longer. So if I get it, it's good. If I don't, I don't. Then I'm going to give it a 1/4 inch gusset. This is where the spine and the book page are going to come together. And this gives me some playroom in that area for the page. If I don't end up using it, it's fine. If I do end up using it, it's fine. And I'll show you what that means when I'm actually putting it on the book. It just gives me some leeway. Now, my mountains, or the hinge, is going to be a 1/2 inch high. My gussets, or the valleys or the gussets, are going to be a 1/4 inch. And what that means is that I will have a 1/4 inch between the first book page and the second book page. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's get that straight. That is almost a 1/4 inch with that. So if you wanted to put some major embellishments on this page, you would pretty much be out of room and your next page would not lay flat. But I don't plan on putting a lot of bulky embellishments. If you do bulky embellishments, then you're going to want your gussets to be wider. You can go 3/8 of an inch. You can do a 1/2 inch. Once you get past that 1/2 inch point, which is really, really large, you're starting to have this wide, really big gap in between your pages, and it just doesn't look good. So we're going to do a 1/2 inch to get to that first, the top of the mountain fold, and then a 1/2 inch to get to the bottom of the mountain fold. Now that right there, those two fold up together, and that's the first page goes on that. And then we're going to have a 1/4 inch space in between that and the next page. So now we're going to do a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch, and then we're going to do a 1/4 inch. And there you've got page 1, page 2, with the 1/4 inch gaps in between each page. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. Now you got 3 pages. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. I'm sorry, my allergies. 1/4 inch. There's 4 pages. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 5 pages. 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. So there's 1 mountain, 2 mountains, 3 mountains, 4 mountains, 5 mountains, 6 mountains. I have 6 pages. And then I gave myself a 1/4 inch gap, and I have a little over 2 inches on this side. So for a 6-piece book with a 12-inch piece of paper, whatever length, 12 inches in length, but in length, 12 inches in width, whatever length your pages are is the length that you make it cut this to. So there's that. We're done with this. And now is when you need score tape. And I don't remember which video I said this in, but Sukwang score tape, the actual honest to goodness real score tape, is the only one that I would say to use. This is a 1/8, 1/4. I have a 1/2 inch, and this is 3/8 of an inch. So it comes in, and then I also have like a 2.5 inch. It comes in all kinds of widths. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to put this 1/4 inch score tape on the first 1/2 inch line I come to, and I'm doing it right above the score line. It's not always really easy to see with the Tyvek, but just do the best you can. Just try not to go into the score line, because you'll just, it won't do you any good if you're going into the score line. So if you're not sure, go above then below. Some people put it in the center of the 1/2 inch mark, which would work fine. I tend to, when I close these puppies up, I want it to be closed to my 1/4 inch gusset, and so that's why I try and put it at my score line. But again, err in the side of center more than covering up your score line. I mean, it won't be the end of the world because you can add another piece of score tape, but you know, who wants to do the same job twice? So we're going to do this. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got my 6 mountain folds to do. So I am going to flip this back over. I'm going to leave this first. I'm going to, let me see if I can get this a little, oh, wrong way. A little closer in so you can see. You can see these score lines. I don't think you, yeah, you can see these score lines. There's the first 1/2 inch, second 1/2 inch, then that's a 1/4 inch gusset right here. And then this is my second 1/2 inch, you know, second mountains gusset, third mountains gusset. So I'm putting it on each one of the first 1/2 inch marks after the 1/4 inch mark. Okay, so back this way. There it is. I'm leaving this first line alone, and I'm going to flip this up, and what I do is I line my edges together. So this is a straight piece of paper, so it ought to line up on both sides, and then I'm going to really give that a good burnish. Then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to fold on the next score line, which is the first 1/2 inch mark. And this is making, and you want to take your time on this and get it right, because if it's crooked, your pages are going to be crooked. And so this don't go by this white sheet because it's crooked. I want you to line up these lines right there. Okay, so then you're going to open this back up. You're going to pull